Thanks, Loretta. Well, where were you in about mid-September of 1972? If you were of a certain age, you were likely in front of a television watching the Canada-Russian hockey series. Rob Sinclair was a mere toddler. In fact, I didn't think you didn't even know you were alive at the time, did you, Rob? Well, Rob is, you're here for the first time to do some sports on First Up. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here. I love what you've done with the place.
Oh, thank you very much. We had the decorators in.
Yeah. Do you have any idea just what kind of reaction you're getting across the continent, across the country for First Up?
Oh, yeah, sure. We've had the nasty phone calls and the letters.
Well, that's not what I see.
Oh,
of course,
okay.
I'm out in the field, so I get a chance to go around and get the response. And believe me, just the build-up for this sports segment alone has just been unbelievable.
Oh,
everybody's on the bandwagon. Everybody's positive.
I can feel this one coming. All right.
We had a big gala. We had a big gala to plug the sports segment, and everybody who was anybody wanted to be there. Brought some tape. Let's take a look.
Let's take a look.
Here it is, and we're outside the Global Studios. As you can see, everybody, Kramer, first in, always first in for the party. There I am. I met Hugh Grant in the parking lot coming in. John Lithgow, couple of the night, Ann and Ellen, they were there. Oprah, had to get the interview in. What's Rob Davidson really like? Helen Hunt, David Duchovny, Global's got, there's my wife Karen, Gerard Depardieu, partying it up, Armand DeSantis.
Everybody.
And of course, the new official First Up sports salute, Benny Hill and I, there you go. So the big gala went over very big, and believe me, everybody's watching. Millions are reporting.
Isn't that great to know? I'm really pleased that the response is going so well. And by the way, there we go.
There we go. Yeah, we'll have to end it like that every time. No bigger than the response, I think, to any sports event than what we consider the defining moment in Canadian sports history, which is?
I would have to say the 72 series. Sure, that's an easy call. 72 series.
No doubt about it. And of course, the hero out of that, Paul Henderson. Final game, game 8, tied, going into the final minute. He sprawls over the boards, heads to the net, and scores what, without question, was the goal.
And it appeared to be Cornwallis who got the goal. Cornwallis has it on that wing. Here's a shot. Henderson made a wild stab for it, fell. Here's another shot, right by the score! Henderson has scored for Canada!
I remember having a sense that I could score a goal, desperately needing a goal, and seeing it going over the line and jumping into Cornway's arms and celebrating.
Ron Ellis tells me that just before that, Harry Sinden had tapped you guys on the back. You just come off the ice and said, you're going back on. And he said as he was catching his breath, Ron Ellis, you jumped up and pulled Peter Mahovlich off the ice, which for you, he said, was very uncharacteristic. What prompted you to do that?
I don't know. I had a sense that I could score a goal. I had a sense that a tie was no good. And one of those reasons that I can't even describe today, I never had done it before, never did it after that, stood up and actually started yelling at a player to come off the ice. And Peter Mahovlich was the left winger, and for some reason, Peter, come on. But I just felt that I could score a goal.
And I think you might be the first guy in hockey history not only to score that goal, but to get Peter Mahovlich off the ice.
Well, that's right. There was 2 miracles.
It's such a defining moment in Canadian sports history. How did it define your hockey career?
Well, it was the highlight of my athletic career. There's no two ways about it. And it's given me a place in Canadians' hearts that I certainly would never have had without the goal. And so 25 years later, I'm appreciating it more today than I even did back then.
As we so often see, however, it often comes at the expense of everything else you accomplished in hockey. Is that a frustration for you in any way?
Oh, not really. I think that everybody knew that I had to be a pretty good hockey player. I wouldn't have been on Team Canada, wouldn't have been invited, but I realize the scope of that. I will forever be identified with that. The day I die, I mean, the headlines will be the guy that scored the goal in '72 just kicked the bucket. And that's a reality, and so you can either embrace it or run from it. And I've chosen to embrace it and embrace it in a very cherished way.
As you look back on the entire series as a whole, what impact has it had on Canadian hockey?
Well, I think that it showed us that the world knew how to play the game, and the Russians played a different style than we did, and so I think it did have an effect on the game. We understood what real teamwork was all about. We understood the skill level that was very unnerving. And the fact that if you're going to win in hockey, boy, you better be thinking as a team. but that little fiber, I just kind of think that the Canadians have got it when they need it and will reach down and get it.
The indomitable will to win and the way to find it.
Well, let's call it that, but I think we have it.
You found it. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Where were you?
I was overseas. I was living actually in Hong Kong at the time. Not exactly a hockey mecca, but I remember being able to read about it in the Stars and Stripes newspaper.
No kidding.
And read the next morning and saw that famous photo, that great Boris Spremo photo that is immortalized in the Hockey Hall of Fame to this day.
I was living in Halifax, teenager in Halifax. My parents were on vacation out of the country.
Yeah.
My brother and I were being looked after by a young doctor in the city. So I went from after school to the hospital. I was sitting in the hospital and the old VG in Halifax, and every single radio, every room, every hallway. I remember the work had stopped in the hospital. Everyone was listening to that hockey game. It was
Every
amazing.
bedside TV riveted to that screen.
Yeah.
He's got great stories. He says everywhere he goes, everyone tells him where they were. 2 guys in a silo in Regina, cheering with the doors closed. Another guy, he said, he heard one last week, he was so happy, one of these couches, he leaped back, couch fell over, couch fell on him, squished him.
Rob, you're going to be in on a regular basis to tell us about sports?
A couple of weeks' time, we're going to have Damon Stoudemire here to talk about his new book and the Raptors season. Lots to come, tons of sports.
Wonderful. Thanks for coming in today.
My pleasure.
Okay, thanks. Loretta?